YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Benji, and we back with the crew. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me too on Twitter. I like to have discussion and discourse with y'all. Here we checking out a video from the Whatever podcast. Deep into the podcast, they were having a discussion about the wage gap and the possible factors that could play into said wage gap. And I was kind of interested in hearing this conversation play out, and I said I might as well check it out with the crew. Let's go. Oh shoot, my phone.
You guys can go on a first date, going into it, like, yeah, he's probably gonna pay. Maybe you have to split, but like, he's gonna pay.
Right.
Maybe you want the man to pay.
I would say that, I mean, in today's modern age, I think women's finances do matter to a degree because most marriages are they're splitting bills. They're splitting bills. Like in this economy, people can't really live without just off of one income.
I'll agree with you that the economic and financial reality is that, yes, most people are going to need a two-income household. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with you. But I think there's a difference in biology, and there's an evolutionary basis. Even if that's the economic and financial reality, I still don't think men really make major assessments to their attraction towards women based off of how much money she makes or her career.
All right, so at this point in the conversation, they talking about the difference in the wage gap, the smallest difference when you equate for very similar positions, fields, etc., cities. Brian from the Whatever podcast, my boy right here with the hoodie, is alluding to the fact that there's a societal pressure that from women towards men that would possibly drive men to earn a little bit of extra money. And then I guess her counter to that was, but that's probably facetious because in big cities, people need two-income households. So men do actually care about what women have. I agree, but I think she's missing the point that he's talking about in regards to attraction.
Like, I think you take a high-powered male attorney, and he's like, wow, there's this really attractive woman who works at Starbucks, and she's great. I don't think she's immediately going to disqualify that girl. He might even prefer her. But you take a high-powered female attorney who makes $200,000 a year, I don't think she's dating the male barista. He's great. He's attractive. I'm not marrying that guy. She's probably wanting to date a guy who's on her level or higher.
Yeah.
Right, but why do you think most men usually end up marrying women within their tax bracket or their level?
Okay, so I think she just missed over a good point that he made. I mean, obviously this is a red pill talking point. The guys love talking about how men don't look for money because the guy that's the CEO of a Fortune 500 company would go after a woman who works works part-time on a minimum wage job. Sure, because to a lot of men, attractiveness is the largest metric that they'll go after first. And then after that, a lot of that has to do with, submission, kindness, motherly qualities. But a lot of these guys simply, due to their own ego or whatever the case may be, will go after the attractive woman before they go after anything else. So I kind of see that, but I don't necessarily understand her question.
I think that's just the sort of reality.
Why do you think most men usually end up marrying women within their tax bracket?
I think that's just proximity. That doesn't make sense. I don't think any dude just walking up to a woman like, how much did you make today? Can I see your W-2 for the year? I don't think that's a lot of what men are selecting women based off of. Now, granted, there can be an accomplished woman that a guy might see, okay, she might be driven, she might be focused, she might be goal-oriented. This woman has the capacity to be someone who would be a very good wife. But a lot of women will indirectly figure out whether or not you can provide for her a possible lifestyle she's looking to go after, or a family based on what you do for work and how you carry yourself.
Or their level of education.
I think that's just the sort of reality. Most people kind of fall into that general area.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that most men who really make money and who live maybe higher profile lifestyles would be interested in the girl who, I think most men want women who are used to their lifestyle.
Women want men that are used to their lifestyle. What is she talking about?
I feel like if a man is if he makes a lot of money, you're talking about a millionaire or a high high income man getting with a barista. I think most men would prefer a woman that's going to make them work harder and would be used to nicer things because that's the lifestyle that they're already used to.
No,
I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't even understand what she's talking about. Her trying to fathom this from her vantage point is just interesting to watch. Ma'am, the point happened and you missed it. there's differences in what a lot of females and what a lot of males value in regards to attraction from their potential partners. There's a difference there.
Oh, get that out. Get that out. What do you mean, the lifestyle? So she's traveled a bunch?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like she's already traveled? No,
I don't think a guy that if you're both earning X amount of money, a guy that works and let's say he makes $200,000, that put him in the top, I don't know, 1%, 2%, whatever that number is, right? U.S. Just because you would then get with a woman who earns $200,000 and spends her money living the lifestyle of a person who earns $200,000. What she's saying is that buying more, name brand clothing? Is that driving a nicer car, having a nicer house, apartment? What are you saying? Lifestyle. Someone who's able to frequently travel. Someone who's able to, who doesn't, like, what are you talking about? Someone who doesn't penny pinch as much? That I find that an interesting statement to make.
If you're a guy and you make a lot of money, right? You want to be the portal to the world. Like, oh, she's already done this before. It's just like, okay.
Maybe
I think what
okay.
the man looks for the most is like emotional intelligence and like a woman who inspires him to be a better man.
She kind of gets it. Yeah. Y'all's, I mean, literally her own logic against her. If she were to pull the small pool of millionaires, they're typically the older guys going after the younger women because they're looking for a woman who they can woo with their money. They worked hard so they can show a woman this lifestyle that comes easy to them. And they'll typically go after the women that find value in material items. So, I mean, the two things coincide.
It's not like
I don't
what
need
she
inspiration.
does.
I just do that shit on my own.
Okay, wait, I did like a little social experiment on my own.
Sure.
I was on Raya for a little bit, and I made my occupation medical assistant, and then I switched it later on to just influencer. And I felt like I noticed that there was I had like, I don't want to say significantly, but I definitely had more matches from men after switching it to an influencer
That is shocking.
rather than
I thought you
a
were
medical
gonna say the
assistant.
opposite.
I thought you were going to say the opposite.
Yeah.
No, because I wanted to see what it was like.
Do you
So
buy
do
that?
you,
I thought he
When a woman labels herself as an influencer, I very much proceed with caution.
well,
Yeah, I think there's possibly. So, before she gets into too much depth, I know I'm pausing a lot. I would assume that, I guess I'll link the original video down so you can definitely check it out. You see the timestamps here, but I would argue that a lot of the dudes, when they see influencers, they think that a woman has a lot of followers, whatever the case may be, they find more value in her because they feel like she is a prettier woman or a woman who has more options. So when they choose me, this man, I fit on some type of totem pole, or I'm like a top tier guy because out of all these options, she chose me. I think the same works with women.
okay.
Very
Yeah.
much. Because
That's
usually
what
there's an
I'm wondering.
OF involved, sadly.
Did you change
Oh,
anything else
yeah.
on the profile, your pictures at all?
No, I kept it. So
Okay.
what I thought was, I was suspecting that like having medical assistant would get me more matches. That's what I was thinking. So that's why I intentionally did the experiment myself.
How
and
many
then I
days
realized,
were you set to medical person?
Oh, but
Um,
I think that's true too. They are in California, so if you put influencer up there, there's probably a lot of people that are gonna try and hit her up under the guise of, oh, let's collab. Or like he said, a lot of people might say, oh, what kind of influencer are you? So they might have made you seem like a possibly easier target. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think.
I don't know. It was. I mean, like
but
they were both.
you
roughly
said medical what? What was this?
medical assistant.
Medical assistant. I mean, nurses are kind of.
That's true. That's true. By the way,
I mean,
we
medical
nurses are a
like,
red flag.
Men also
Medical
have like
field.
negative stereotypes towards like certain women in the healthcare field.
Yeah, That's true.
Because there are certain patterns.
So that could also be
Okay.
playing.
That
a
could be,
role.
but I mean, also I would wonder like. I mean, I don't know how thorough of it. Like, you would have to like test this multiple.
You have to do a
times.
double
Yeah,
blind
of course. It's
placebo
like
study.
it's gonna be. It's not.
Like
gonna
there could be some happenstance, like
Right.
you know, like if a coin, I don't know, how do I explain this? It's just like,
yeah, I mean, Raya could have been pushing my account more. Whatever. There's like a bunch of different
yeah, like
aspects to it.
I would be curious. What if you re-downloaded the app,
Right.
started as influencer,
and then
switched
medical
it?
assistant?
Because
Yeah.
I do know sometimes with these apps, like it might take you a while to get into the algorithm.
Yeah.
I don't know all the details.
Right.
what
Honestly,
app was it?
I think you could.
Raya.
I think you could
Yeah.
put.
Yeah.
You could call yourself a neat, and you'd still get a fuck ton of matches. It's not in employment, education, or training. So you're just basically living at home with your parents. Like that's your job title. I think you're still gonna be killing it. So it's like.
But you think it'd be the same amount of
What?
matches as like being an influencer?
What do you mean?
Like if I said influencer,
If you said college student versus influencer, I feel like most guys prefer like a college student.
think
To be
so?
honest, yeah.
Influencer, when girls are on social media and they get attention on social media, it tends to be a very like negative thing. I think social media has harmed women a lot more than it's affected men, just simply because of the way that women process that attention, the way that they deal with it, and the way that it changes them as a person. I think that it's different.
Well, here, why don't we test it out like this? Do you feel like you maybe missed out on dating certain men because of your finances?
She's gonna easily say no because she's only seeing the people that are in front of her. So she's not looking below. Like if like we were using the $200,000 example, she's only gonna see the people in front of her making $200,000. That's gonna be the bare minimum for me because I make $200,000. Why would I look at a guy that makes $100,000? Why would I look at a guy that makes $50,000? Also, her purview is jaded.
Nope.
Yep, they're all gonna say no.
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 No. I think the more successful I become, the pool gets smaller.
Yeah. Look at her.
That makes sense.
No.
She said the answer that one here.
Okay. I don't know. So I guess my original point was there's just like this massive social and mating pressure on men that's enforced by women, even if it's 50%. Let's say only 50% of women don't care at all. The guy could be a broke bum. They don't. I think it's more, but let's say it's just 50% of women. I think that'd be fair to say. Would at the very least want a guy to pay for the first date. I think it goes beyond that. I think women would. I think 50% of men would want a provider. I think 50% of women would be, if possible, maybe even I don't know how many would want to be stay-at-home wives and just have the man work whatever. It occurred. Whereas I don't think I or any man can go into any encounter with a woman and have this expectation she's going to pay for the first date. I want to be the stay-at-home dad. Mm-hmm. Like if I told you guys on a first date, you're so great. I think you're beautiful. When we have kids, I want you, maybe you take a couple weeks off, but then get right back to work and I'll stay at home and take care of the kids. I want to be the stay-at-home dad. You work for 30 years. You support me. You support the family. I'll take care of the household. I'll do the cooking. I'll do the cleaning. I'll take care of the kids. I don't think a lot of women are going to be okay with that. Right? Am I?
I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
If
Is
I
there
was
a
like,
single
There you
if
go.
I was like a super rich woman,
It's easy to
I
talk.
would.
I mean,
well,
yeah.
that's different.
It's easy to talk.
I mean, I don't.
It's easy to talk. They just sat there and all talked about, oh, the guy's never gonna go after the barista, but y'all wouldn't even go after the like that. Oh my
I think
goodness.
that that's like normal, but if he was a better parent than I was, I don't think that I would be completely against that. Like if my job
See how
was
many
like,
caveats
just
are
sailing
there?
around all day, I think that would be really fun.
I mean, there could be an argument that's made if you're like a high earning woman,
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
I mean, I personally wouldn't prefer this dynamic, but, and like I don't think high earning women want to, well, whatever, maybe
I'd
you find
rather
that special guy, but
I'd rather both just, both contributed rather than it feeling like one person is in charge of the finances to a point where there's some sort of, friction in the relationship
Control.
because of that. Because that does happen a lot. Majority of the fights that married couples have are over finances or infidelity or, how to raise a child. So I do think that having some sort of income as a woman, even if it's small, you're contributing. And so that does alleviate some of those arguments.
I wonder if Andrew would disagree with me saying this if he was here, but I think that it's the man's job to step up and make sure that that's not an issue. Like I think a lot of guys say, "Oh, I can't control my earning potential. Like I can't do this. Like it's not up to me. It's fate or something." I think that's ridiculous. I think all men can work harder. All men can make more money.
This dude is a muscle bro. He sells a course.
You just have to use your head and you have to work
That's what
hard.
I said when
You can control
like
your earning
finding
potential.
a woman that makes him inspired to be a better man and like want to step up and
I think that's, do you have an issue with that? Because the truth is that men that tend to get married do tend to also make more money. And I think the motivation there is ultimately because they're...
Well, you have more bills. Guys, like, y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section below, man.
They're driving to provide for the family.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's an issue.
yeah, I
there.
do think there's that. I mean, I guess ultimately it's just this whole thing. It's not really a metric that men judge women on. I think you women are, I'm not saying women are just going to be completely unmotivated. Like, obviously there's like base level survival Like, oh, okay, I need to make money so I have a house, I can eat, I can be comfortable. But like men have this on top of like the base level survival considerations that both men and women have. Men on top of that have to be like, if I want to date, if I want a girlfriend, if I want a wife, I gotta make money. And if I'm not financially attractive, economically attractive to women, then
you lose.
I might, maybe I can't take her on a date. Whereas I don't think women are really thinking like, oh man, I wonder, is he gonna think I'm broke? Like, guys don't think about that. Like, we're not assessing you on your money. And even a guy who maybe he's not making enough money to the point where like maybe it would be difficult to like have a family, given the what you brought up, the whole you need 2 incomes to survive, right? For a lot of people. I still think, man, that guy's gonna look at like a beautiful woman who's got a good personality, who's a barista. He's gonna pick her. He doesn't care. It's so low. It's such a low priority. Most men aren't gonna even trip about it. Even men who would like their lifestyle would be much better if they did have a partner who made more money.
I agree. Honestly,
the wage gap is all your fault.
It's all your fault.
It's all women's fault.
Y'all let me know what y'all believe about this in the comments below.
Social and mating pressure on us.